Welcome to the Ajax Union and Optimized Owner webinar. We're going to be talking about how to scale and automate your business to save time and make more money. My name is Joe Applebaum, and I'm here with the awesome, amazing, incredible entrepreneur, Matt Mandel. So, Matt, thank you for being here with me.
Sure. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
So I'm excited about this because we've been talking about how you help companies with automating their entire business. We help companies with automating their marketing. So I'm going to talk about that towards the end of this webinar.
Yep.
But you've been helping entrepreneurs automate their business so that they could focus on what's more important. Could you talk a little bit about why you started this company?
Sure. So I started this company because I was the person living in the frustration and annoyance every day, where I had a food delivery company where the first order would come in at about 5 a.m, and then the last employee would leave at about 4:30 in the morning, and quickly became unsustainable. And what was fun in college became impossible. So as I became burnt out, I essentially expanded into and learned that there had to have been a better way. So
Wow.
from that headache began, working with people literally around the world, and from literally China to Philippines to Israel to India to all over the former Soviet bloc to U.S., Canada, Mexico, Ireland. Great call centers in Ireland, actually, South America, and everywhere in between.
I love that you write that you have one wife and 2 kids and 1 dog.
Exactly. Well, listen, I mean, I was taking a page from Joe, and I was learning and using a little bit of humor. People love humor.
Yeah, no, that's really funny. For me, the way that I started with the whole email automation and like automating your marketing stuff is what I found was a lot of people wanted marketing, but they didn't
Mhm.
understand that specifically in the B2B world, you need to have a certain level of automation in order for you to be able to nurture leads effectively, especially at scale. And most people are not doing that. They're just getting leads. If you're not ready to buy, have a good day, and they're wasting a lot of money. So I realized there's a massive opportunity. I first implemented it for Ajax Union. We saw lots of success. So we decided to start
It's huge.
implementing it for our clients. So
And that's where I think it's interesting. I was speaking to someone this morning who was asking, what's the first thing that you do? And it's funny because it's been, God, 15, 18 years at this point, and it's so hard to see back to like what's that first thing, and like what was the first thing that you changed? Just a
all
very
right,
different
cool.
world.
So let's rock and roll. Let's do this
Yeah.
thing.
Cool. So I believe that that we all have limited resources, and the two most limited resources are everyone's only got 24 hours in the day, and everyone has a limited amount of money, at least to some extent. So that's kind of my main thing. And then our goal is to get out there and make things better. And the presentation is meant for you to be kicked, nudged, pushed, and to improve your life from today moving forward, because we can't fix it going backwards. So don't worry about the past. It's a sunk cost, and let's move forward. So the agenda is finding the waste, removing the waste, a bunch of automation and small things that you can implement, and then larger things with some case studies, and then jump into questions.
And if you guys are paying attention on the live one, can I get a boom from some of you in the chat box that are paying attention, so I know who's actually paying attention and who's multitasking? Some of you, what's funny is Zoom shows me who's paying attention, so I know. Okay, guys, I see the booms are
the
flying in.
advantage.
Yeah, cool. All right, thank you guys. Thanks for paying attention. All right, let's rock and roll.
Cool. This is the advantage of being a teacher, Moro Joe. Okay, so if there's anything you want covered, let us know. So the biggest question that I've heard and continually hear, which is, I don't know what I want to automate. I don't know what to do. I don't know what the first step is. So what is the first step? So first thing is make a list of, you can shoot to the next one, to what bothers you. Keep track of it for a week, and that's a great place to start. Because quite honestly, the things that anger you are probably the things that you're wasting time on and aren't that good at.
For example, it used to get me upset that I would miss LinkedIn messages. Like I used to get really upset. I get opportunities almost every day. And sometimes I would miss it because so many come in so quickly. So I had to figure out a way to automate that. So you're so right. It's so important to automate things that get you into a bad emotional state. It could be anger or it
And
could be just frustration.
and how did you automate the LinkedIn responses? Joe?
Essentially hiring a virtual assistant and creating
Yep.
systems and processes, giving them the script they need to use, when they need to ask me, how they need to ask me, all that stuff.
Perfect. Then the next thing would be looking at where your time is going. So track your time for at least a week, and the results may shock you. But what I've also found is that when people track their time, there's like a small, like a small burden on their shoulder, just like being more aware of, like how much time did I spend on social media? How much time did I spend actually on that 4 or 5 minute phone call? So that's been incredibly important. Then if you look at the Eisenhower Matrix, what we want to do essentially is take the quadrant 2, which are the important things that are the not urgent things, and move them over temporarily to the quadrant 1, to the urgent and important. The goal being that we want to move it there to take care of it so it never comes back again. And that is the goal. The reason is there's a huge cost to not delegating. So if you look, companies are wasting about $28,000 per knowledge worker per year on not automating. And this is essentially assuming that the average person is making that $67,000 per year, which, depending on what industry you're in, that may end up being a little bit higher, a little bit lower. In the New York area, it does certainly feel a bit low. So again, if you look at the number of staff and headcount that are around, $28,000 a person is fairly large. Next thing is figuring out what's your time worth. So if you take your annual salary and then truncate the thousands and then divide by 2. So for example, $50,000, you would truncate to drop to $50, divided by 2 is $25 an hour. So you can kind of see what your replacement cost is and what your rough hourly rate is and wage is.
It's so interesting. I had a conversation with an attorney and he was like, Joe, why should I hand my marketing to somebody else if I could just do it myself? I said, how much do you charge per hour to be an attorney? He's like, $495 an hour. And I said, so essentially it's worth it for you to update your own LinkedIn and to like run your own Google ads for $495 an hour and do a terrible job at it, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So he started laughing and he's like, I never thought about it that way.
It's sometimes the perception of control can make us do crazy things when we don't look at it.
I love how simple you make it, how quickly you make the hourly rate. You break it down. You basically just truncate, take out the K, divide it by 2, and that's your rate. So easy.
And it's also a great party trick that makes you seem incredibly smart very, very quickly.
That's fantastic.
It's amazing how often that can help you there. So what should I outsource? So I look at it as, if it happens more than 3 times, or if it takes you longer than an hour to do, you should consider outsourcing it. And that's personal or professional.
Wow. So personal or professional. So more than 3 times. Could you give an example of something that takes you more than 3 times?
Sure. Going grocery shopping.
Mm.
And it could be something that is creating a report on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. Could be sending meeting reminders potentially. So if you're meeting with people every day, would you manually send out that reminder, or would you have it automated, either through a system or somewhere else?
Cool. Anything that takes longer than an hour and you do more than 3 times. Cool. I love that.
Yep. So mowing the lawn, if you're making $750,000 a year, would you mow your own lawn? And the answer is, unless it's giving you some sort of a karmic benefit, I don't think that's the highest and best use of time. But I don't enjoy lawn care.
And the equivalent of doing your lawn could be being your own administrative assistant, right?
Correct. Which would be also preparing invoices or frontline customer service. There is value. I mean, many companies will have their executive teams go in and do frontline customer service for a week to understand strategically what's happening. But on a day-to-day basis, is that the highest and best use of your time? I would argue likely not. And what our goal is, as you were saying with the LinkedIn responses, is to systemize the repeatable so you can focus on opportunity. Because focusing on the larger opportunities are what's going to be what matters and truly drives the needle and drives the actual growth in your business.
I was talking to a business broker today, and he said, mm-hmm. Joe, one of the key factors that will determine whether a business is sellable or not is whether or not they have these systems and repeatable processes really nailed down and written out in this way. So this is so
Yep.
important for those of you that are listening to this. If you ever want to sell your business, this is probably one of the most important factors to being able to have a business that actually has any value at all.
And we're about slides away of showing how to take the heavy lifting off of this. But it is amazing. It's table stakes in larger businesses, but in smaller businesses, it is amazing what happens. And I was speaking to likely a different broker, business broker, and if you look, 40% of the businesses that will sell this year did not plan to sell this year. So
wow. And if you plan for it, you're
yep.
much more likely to succeed. Cool.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask us. But people often ask us, why are people not outsourcing to overseas or using technology? What are the common reasons? And these are all the common reasons, right? You hear this a lot. Number one, I don't have time to learn this. Faster to do. If I can do it myself, why would I give it to somebody else to do, right? Or all the people overseas are not good, or you can't trust them. I actually have somebody overseas. I have basically 4 people overseas that work for me over
Mhm.
10 hours per week doing different things for me, and they're extremely reliable. They're much more reliable than some of the people that I've used in the United States. It all has to do with the person that you can use. Some people believe they can't trust technology, that it's dangerous, or it's hard to learn and it's very complicated. I mean, it's hard to learn to walk, not to use something that you click on a button. And then what if it breaks? You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, you are broke, so fix it. If you can't see it, you can't manage it. Or last time I tried, I screwed it up, or I'm not tech savvy enough. So yeah, so those are essentially the things. So
So what we're looking at is handling something for the last time. And the way to do that is to literally just make a video of yourself. The reason why you make a video of yourself is the small things that you'd think through and would explain verbally, you won't tend to put together and write down if I were to ask you to write it out. Now, the easiest tool that I think out there is Loom, and it's loom.com. They have a desktop app now. It is completely free. It is agnostic for each platform. So if anyone does anyone use Loom, just let me know in the chat. If you do you know what this is? And
yeah, so Loom is a screen capture tool. Personally, I have this other tool that I literally
what
just
do you prefer?
recorded something on the tool that I use. I'll pop it onto the screen. I just recorded a video using Screencast-O-Matic.
Cool.
And if I play this video, I don't think you'll hear the sound. It just popped up over here. Can you hear the sound?
No.
Okay, I don't know why. Anyways, I did a whole video of um, how to use your bookmarks and how to not use the feed and so on and so forth. And I use this.
And that's PC only, correct?
No, it's both Mac and
Oh,
PC. It's
cool.
called Screencast-O-Matic. It's $25 a year, but Loom is like, easier to. It's probably easier to use Loom, but this gives me a lot of features that Loom doesn't give you. So,
Great. So
um,
Screencast-O-Matic is another
yeah,
great one. Camtasia is another one out there.
Camtasia is great. Screencastify is great. There's a lot of really good ones.
Yeah. So what the goal is once you create the video, send it to someone offshore or someone else in the office to build out your operating procedures. And I have this both for personal as well as business. So literally, we have everything on how to take care of the dog. So when we go away, all I have to do is print out 3 pages and I hand it to someone, and I have never had a question. And if I do have a question, I would just tweak this article and have it there. We also have everything from how to create a shipping label all the way on down to how to manage anything.
So
Anytime.
you make a video. Anytime you need to do something more than 3 times, you'll make a video of you doing it. Then you'll
Yep.
send it to an administrative assistant. Say, watch the video and make it into a 3-page document. They take that
Or
3-page
however long it
document
is.
with screenshots of the video,
Yep.
and then boom, you have it. It's done,
Yep.
and you
And,
never
and,
have to
and,
do it again.
and then anytime that someone asks me a question, that either means that I didn't give them the tools to succeed, or I need new document, start to finish.
Like how many documents do you currently have?
I think we have about 300 or so right now.
Okay, that's manageable.
Um,
300
and
documents is not crazy.
The first couple months, I mean, I was doing something new every day. Then it's essentially expanded into much less because you run into things to do, and you just don't need to anymore. And it gets very lonely because you don't have to manage it because it's managing itself.
Right. It gets lonely to not have to do the busy work,
Exactly.
the urgent and the important, what you showed before, because most people are busy in this quadrant over here. Let me go back over here because a lot of people want to see this matrix here. Most
Yep.
people are busy doing the stuff that are not urgent and not important, instead of doing the things that are important but not urgent.
Yep.
So the key is to focus on the things that are urgent and important and plan to do the things that are not urgent but important. And if you do that, if you knock out all the urgent tasks and you automate them or delegate the things that are not important but urgent, especially if they're repeatable, then your game changes completely. This is so powerful. By the way, did you guys get value? Write value in the chat box if you got value so far. And we're going to keep going now.
So one thing that you can get really fancy with this stuff with is actually paying people. So the use case is if you have a nanny who comes every day who has a daily rate, you can turn on a light switch and turn on a light and just ask the nanny to turn off a light when you leave. That can fire an automation through a service called Zapier, which is effectively the glue that ties things together. And that can take a Hue light switch and actually initiate a payment through PayPal. So you could literally pay the
That's funny.
babysitter and they could actually pay themselves. Now, granted, you just want to make sure that you essentially set a limit on it, because if you don't set a limit, then you can end up paying them multiple times in a day if they or if they learn.
It would be so funny that they learn that when they turn the light off, they make money. So they all have to do is come turn off the light off every 5 minutes instead of
Exactly.
making
Or
money.
or if you've got like a 2-year-old in the house.
Yeah. Like, what happened to my entire PayPal account? I don't know. The 2-year-old has been playing with the light. Okay, cool.
Exactly. So in terms of sharing sensitive information, one of the things that we hear on a regular basis is, well, I don't want to give someone my information, overseas or somewhere across the world. So I prefer Dashlane. What do you use, Joe?
I personally use LastPass.
Got it. And we moved from LastPass. I think they're each competent, and each really good tools. What you can do is you can essentially share your login information securely. And if you were to ask someone to leave the company, you can just remove access to it. They can log in without seeing access to any password. And this gives you the security, gives them the access, and ends up getting essentially a good mix of both.
Powerful stuff.
Then the next sort of first level of automation would be text expansion. And that could be, again, like what you were talking about on LinkedIn with the opening up a response or having a standard response. If you look on the left, this is just using the keyboard inside of like Apple iOS. And I have it where if I type dir on my phone, it actually expands into a full directions to get to my house, or
I love that. That could
ADDY.
be a little dangerous because you could be typing in something dir and all of a sudden, boom, the whole thing
Yep.
loads. But
And so what you could do is add in either X or a semicolon as well.
that's really smart. That's really
Um,
smart. Yeah.
but here's
So
you want to show us like on your screen like what
yeah,
it looks
I'll
like.
I'll show you what it looks like when I'm using a different one that's compatible with PC with I'll show you, like, for example, if I go to my profile on LinkedIn and I click on who viewed my connections recently, and I want to see, like, for example, I noticed Neil Greenbaum looked at my connection recently, right? So Neil's on this webinar right now. And so I click on Neil and I say, you know what, let me message Neil real quick. So I'll go in here and then I basically click this little thing here and I type in profile view, and this pops up automatically. Thank you for being my connection here on LinkedIn. Thanks for checking out my profile. Did you read my full summary? It's pretty extensive. Send, right? And I could do this from here, or I could do this right from here. And I have lots of different automated things like Patty. It'll pop in over here. Same thing, profile view, send, and I can quickly send thousands of direct messages in instead of in many hours. I can do it very very quickly, as you can see.
And if you
Um,
want, you can customize it. You don't have to keep it.
yeah, yeah. I can also customize it with variables depending on
Yep.
what it is, and the same thing with my email, right? I can send out emails if I want to make an introduction to somebody. I can quickly create an email that everything automatically gets entered.
And there are also there are tools like Text Expander, Keyboard Maestro. You like which one?
I like this one here called Gorgias because it's a
That's what
Chrome
it is.
extension. Gorgias, that's the one that I use. Cool.
And then so we jump into the next one. So this is getting a little bit little bit crazy and creepy, and also a little bit cool in my mind. So if you look and you type in an email, do you want to open up the optimized owner page /enrich?
Yeah, optimize owner /enrich. All right, let's do that. Let's open it
So
right
what
now.
this does is this is what's called enriching data. So it's looking at outside databases for people's information. So
Okay,
if you
so
want
for
Joe,
example, if I type in my own email here, right, joe@ajaxunion.com, and
and just press tab.
I press tab, it automatically says, oh, this person is Joe Applebaum. The name of his company is Ajax Union. His website is ajaxunion.com. His company is 50 to 200 people. He's a CEO, blah, 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 and it gives me all this information. Let's say I typed in Tammy s@ajaxunion.com, and I press tab.
You may need to refresh the page.
Well, I actually picked up her last name here. I don't know why.
I think it's because you hit
Oh, got it.
you selected it as opposed to hitting tab. But if you
All right,
refresh the page,
let's see. Thank you, it says.
now what usually happens is this is not set up to. I'm showing this so you can see what we have. Normally, I would just ask you for your email, and then I wouldn't ask Joe for his first name or last name or any of the other fields. I would effectively just go in and ask only for the missing data that I needed, which means that I can then take a 20 form field and turn it into a one field query or box for customers where we have the information. If we don't have the information, then we've got to ask you for it.
Right. All right, let's try it with Judy's email, see if anything comes up. Judy just
Sure.
submitted her email here. Let me see. Oh, look at that. Judy Hayes, judyhayes.com. Is that accurate, Judy? I'm curious to know if it's accurate. Oh, and her job title looks like it came from LinkedIn because she is a LinkedIn trainer. She wrote, yeah, it's accurate. That's
Got it.
pretty cool. So we try this in real time with real people. Guys, if you want to send us your email, we can try that. But this really works. It's very, very powerful.
And as you build more, you can essentially get a bit more done.
Yeah, cool. And you could automatically enrich your CRM. You can enrich forms. You can enrich
Yep.
lots of different things. Cool.
Yep. And that's so the next thing in terms is jumping into some file automation. And file automation, I think, starts with a good scanner, a good strong scanner. This is about $450, I think, give or take. I love this, partly because Fujitsu will very patiently walk through anything. I mean, my parents have two of these in their house now at this point, and they will walk through any and all questions. It is just amazing to get data digitized and in there.
If I'm at a WeWork, can I just use their copy machine? That's like
Sure.
a $50,000 copy machine with a crazy scanner. Just boom, boom,
No
boom.
problem.
Scan it to email. Boom, boom, boom. Done. Okay,
Yep.
cool.
But for people who don't want to spend 50,000, they could spend $400 and save the $49,600. Or I mean, WeWork might be selling them for like 90% off this week. Who knows?
Right. You never know. But the Fujitsu is very, very high speed. And I think it does 50 pages at a time, right?
Something like it is insanely fast. It is much faster. It can do my insurance policy like each year in like a minute, which is pretty much the longest thing that I would scan in a year.
And what do you do when you scan it? Where do you store everything?
So what I have is I actually have file automation. So I have it. It does what's called OCR, which is optical character recognition. So it looks to understand what's actually in the document, and then it moves it based on what's in the document. So, for example, it looks for my like account number for cable company, for mortgage, for for other suppliers. So I scan it in once. It will find what's there, retitle it, and then move it to the proper folder. And that folder is actually shared with the appropriate people on the team, so they can actually see everything up to date.
I love it. So if Tammy gets the mail, she'll scan it in, and then the software will automatically send it to accounting to deal with it.
Well, so what we had is I had an office I'm based in northern New Jersey. We had an office in Park City, then also an office in Florida, and then one in Atlanta. So what happened is we would get the mail, and someone would scan it in. It would go to a shared Dropbox folder, then be identified and actually moved to the right person, just wherever they were in the country. Didn't matter where they were.
Cool. Talk about email signatures.
Sure. So email signatures, we built a tool similar to EverContact, but what it does is it will look through your email, grab all the data, and then put it into your contacts. And if you want your CRM, we just have it based on contacts, because you've ever been looking for someone's information when you've got a scheduled call and they didn't put their phone number in the meeting invite, or you're trying to send them an email and their email just isn't coming up. This solves that problem. And as they move from company to company, it'll keep adding more and more information to, and keeping their
all
contacts up
this
to date.
I didn't put this into my contacts, and Evernote, I pay for the premium Evernote for my email.
Ever
And
contact. Yep.
EverContact, and they automatically find everyone's contact information from their signatures and add it to my Google Contacts. So
Yep.
useful. It's very, very cool.
It's really, really cool. And just, it's one of those small things that just works in the background and saves you time.
Yeah, no, it's sometimes it like makes more work because it starts lumping things together, but you can teach it to be smarter if you spend the time doing it.
Yep. And again, the goal is to get better a little bit at a time. It's not to have perfection. It's progress. So in terms of machine learning, so everyone hears about machine learning and how impossible it is, and it's for big companies. It's very easy to do now. There is a company called Monkey Learn out there, and what you can do is you can jump into Monkey Learn and you can classify emails for sentiment. So is this person like very happy, very angry with me? You also can take things like product hunt, news from an RSS reader, whether it's any news source, or as well as if you're looking on the PR side from Harrow, and you can essentially say, I like this, I don't like this, this is good, this is bad, and build models that will only deliver to you what you want. Because as something like a product hunt or a Harrow has hundreds of entries numerous times a day.
Yeah. No, so then you could learn quickly from that. Tell me about the case study, operations, NDA, customer response.
Sure. So what we have is if you jump to the next page. So we had a business broker who's spending about 20 hours a week going through and literally copying and pasting fields back and forth for each lead. If you look, we mapped out the process on the next one. Next slide, where literally they're going through left, right, and center and spending a ton of time on things. So what we did was we automated it, had a full headless Chrome instance, which essentially is like a computer without a screen, effectively running on a server, and it handles everything, creates a CRM record, sends out the NDA, and then reminds the customer if they don't answer, and gives them back that 20 hours each week, which if you could sign a new client, how many clients could you sign if you had 20 additional hours each week? And how much more money could you make just by automating that?
Very, very powerful. Very powerful. What
if
about,
you look, especially lead management? Like lead management is huge. What started as something where it was a person in Canada, then moved to someone offshore. We identified the 20 most common responses, and then essentially built out a automated response. So low value leads are automatically handled, but it's not just with a quick normal response from the office, which would be, hey, I can't help you, you're not a great customer. It's a, hey, like, we're sorry we can't help you, but did you know that XYZ resource is out there? And you could look for this. So it helps the customer along, even though they're not a good fit for us, for our client. And then essentially if it is a high value lead for us, it forwards it to sales. So nothing is lost, but everything is gained, and you have positive sentiment from people who are working through.
And you have the most ideal response every single time.
Yep, consistently.
What about auto follow-up?
So auto follow-up is similar. What we're doing is we're looking for we're essentially having an email coming in, understanding it, and then actually automatically responding with the most relevant information. So essentially leads don't die, and you're getting back to people always within 15 minutes.
Wow.
And essentially from there, you can build out what you want the next action to be.
Cool. So talk about lead gen.
Okay. So the goal is to build your business by having a repeatable lead gen and sales. So what we want to do is build a strategy, communicate that strategy and that process internally. Then you're generating the assets, because once you've got the assets, and again, the hardest part of what you're doing with Gorgeous is not the clicking a button and having it show up automatically. It's making sure that you've got the good data in there, and the good creative, so that your assistant can handle it. Then from there, building out a Facebook lookalike and the custom audience, and then going and automating email follow-ups, because the automation is where there is a ton of value.
Some other tools that these are some tools that we covered here. There might be some other tools. Zapier actually brings data together between systems. Monkey
Yep.
Learn helps you create automations.
Yep.
Plivo helps you do SMS and phone. And you use this Tiger Elite
Yep.
headset, right?
Yep, it is stolen from truckers, and who essentially have used it because they got a lot of background road noise, which I have more generally child noise than road noise, but it is amazing how clear it is. Um, then if you jump to the next slide, so my favorite travel hack is duplicate cables in your briefcase, so you never are looking for a cable, especially if you have a partner who tends to lose either headphones or charging cables. This can be huge. Also replicating it at your home and your desk, and duplicate toiletry items that are always packed and ready to go. Takes a whole lot of headache out of traveling and moving.
And in another webinar, we can teach you how to fold underwear, but we're not going to teach you how to fold underwear this time. But I can show you if you should hire an agency or not. If you want to hire us, for example, to automate your marketing, we first start with strategy. We identify your goals, your target market, and your ideal messaging. Then we create what you said, Matt, was one of the most difficult things to do, which is create the right assets, which is the right
Mm-hmm.
landing pages, lead magnets, and the right funnel with the email automations and everything flowing. And then once we have your strategy and your assets, then it's about setting up the right technology, making sure that you have ROI reporting, and then sending search, social, and email traffic to that system so that you can automate your lead nurturing and grow your business. And that's our solution. We call it sales enablement. And also, there are lots of marketing automation tools available, including HubSpot, ActiveCampaign, Infusionsoft, Pardot, and Marketo. Depending on what your goals are, you would use a different type of technology. And of course, we also use for all of our clients lead identification technology, so you know who's coming to your website, mouse tracking technology, so you know what they're doing on your website, and call tracking technology, so that we can know exactly who's calling you, what their IP address, what they did on your website, and who they really are. And we could also know where they came from when they call you. And of course, we have lots of dashboards integrating Google AdWords, Google Analytics, Data Studio, Facebook Pixels, the whole thing, to really understand attribution on a very high level. In terms of automating LinkedIn, a lot of people want to know about automating LinkedIn. Hire a virtual assistant, assign the right strategy, monitor on a dashboard, and optimize the strategy. And of course, careful when using automation tools on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn will try to ban accounts that do that. It's against their terms and conditions. So it's always better to do it manually, but do it strategically and not just randomly do things. And of course, if you want to learn how to create your own blueprint, we have a free webinar at ajaxunion.com/blueprint. And we offer the actual LinkedIn Authority Blueprint. We write the strategy for you for your LinkedIn. So if you guys are interested in finding out more information about this, you can always contact me. By the way, who are you? Are you more of a DIY, do it yourself, or would you rather hire somebody? What about you, Matt? Are you more DIY or hire somebody?
I used to be much more DIY. I tend to be much more write a check now because I want to write a check and get something done.
Right. And the same thing with me. It all depends on how much resources you have, right? So we all have
Mm-hmm.
time, we have people, we have money, we have all types of resources. It's not about having more resources, it's about being more resourceful. So if you can afford to invest in getting people to support you, that's really the key. At home, I sometimes, my wife's like, hey, change the light bulbs. And I say, you know what? I don't really have time to change the light bulbs. So I'm going to hire somebody on TaskRabbit, pay them $23. They will
Mm-hmm.
come to my house and they will buy the light bulbs and change every light bulb in the house.
Yep.
So time versus money. Implementation, is this something you want to do in-house? If yes, when are you starting? If no, who is going to do it and how are you going to get it done? If you guys want to set up a call with me, I do free 15-minute calls with anybody that wants to talk to me. joeapplebaum.com/talk. And I'm happy to talk through your marketing. And if you want to set up a call with Matt, he's at optimizeowner.com/call. And Matt would be happy to run through what you're doing in your business. Hopefully you guys got value out of this, and we're looking forward to seeing you at the next webinar. Thank you for joining us here today. Boom.